Good evening and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Hope everyone is doing well on this Thursday evening. We have a massive show planned for you today. But before we jump into that, please do make sure to smash a like on the video. It really helps to bring more people into the channel. And please do subscribe to the channel as well if this is your first time watching. On the show today, we're going to be talking about a story that's broken earlier on today surrounding a new striker at Manchester United. It looks like we are going to improve that area in the January transfer window. Obviously, Rasmus Højlund has done unbelievably in the Champions League, but hasn't really set the world alight in the Premier League. So it looks like that's something we will be talking about on today's show. We will also be talking about a story saying that Erik ten Hag is considering dropping Onana if his form continues, and that also Altay Bayindir is expecting to retain his place. Anybody wondering what the hell I'm talking about? We'll talk about that in a little bit, but lots and lots to get into. Obviously, there's still a bit of an aftermath from the game last night against Galatasaray. Lots of stuff to discuss. Please do get involved in the comment section. Have your say. Let me know what you guys have to say on all things Manchester United. Jump in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. I always like to see what everyone is feeling. Right. Let's start off with this Onana story then, because everyone's probably wondering, what the hell am I talking about? So the headline this afternoon is that Erik ten Hag has now warned Andre Onana that he can't make any more mistakes. If he makes another, Ten Hag will drop him for Altay Bayindir. You know what? I think that's the correct decision. I do. I've been a little bit critical of Onana. You know, in the summer, I really wanted David De Gea to stay. I was pretty disappointed when we got rid of David De Gea. I thought, keep him for one more season. He just won the Golden Glove for the most clean sheets in the Premier League. Yes, he made a couple of dodgy mistakes in some games. Yes, he's not great at playing out from the back, but Manchester United aren't a team that play out from the back. We're not. We simply aren't. We're not Man City. We're not Liverpool. Maybe we want to be that one day, but whilst you've got Maguire, Lindelof, Johnny Evans as your centre-back options, you're not going to be able to play out from the back. Simple as that. So for me, I was always a little bit unsure about why we were bringing in a new goalkeeper, but we are where we are. We've spent 47 million, I think it was, on Andre Onana. Very poor start to the season. Then he kind of bounced back after that Copenhagen penalty save in the Champions League. And since then, I've been quite impressed with him. I thought he's been decent, but last night he was absolutely terrible. I think at least 2, if not 3 of those goals were his fault. You know, he should be saving them. And I think it would show some... what's the right word? It would show some... It would show Erik ten Hag's power if he did drop Onana if the mistakes continue, because you can't drop Varan and all these other people because you're not happy with them. And then you see Onana making all of these mistakes and then you keep playing him, especially when you've got this other goalkeeper, Bayindir, who's highly regarded, is the Turkey national team goalkeeper. You know, had done very, very well at Fenerbahce before he came to Manchester United. We've just signed him and he hasn't played a minute of football in a single competition. Now, I think that is a little bit strange, personally. I would have liked to have seen him in the League Cup. And the way this story goes as well, obviously, Onana will be going to the Africa Cup of Nations in 1 month from now. He'll be going in January. And the headline this afternoon is that Andre Onana is nervous about going to the Africa Cup of Nations, that Altay Bayindir, if Altay Bayindir gets his chance, Onana will not get his place back. And you know what? I'll be honest. If he decides to go to Africa Cup of Nations, fair enough. That's up to him. I've got no issue with that. You know, I understand that playing for your country is very important for people. I get that. No problem. But if this Altay Bayindir guy comes in and does a good job, I would back him to stay in the team 100%. I don't care whether we spent 47 million on Onana. If Altay Bayindir comes in and does a better job than Onana, he has to start going forward. So it's interesting that Onana is worried, and we've had this from 2 or 3 different journalists this afternoon. We've got Samuel Luckhurst from Manchester Evening News saying exactly the same thing. He says Andre Onana is concerned he could lose his place at Manchester United as the number 1 if he does decide to represent Cameroon at the Africa Cup of Nations. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Do you think that Altay Bayindir should get a chance? Or do you think that we should stick with Onana? What would you do? I'll say this, right? I would be absolutely shocked if Altay Bayindir starts the game against Newcastle on Saturday. But I do think we'll see him at some point between now and January, because Erik ten Hag has got to start giving him some game time. You can't just throw Altay Bayindir into the Premier League without a single bit of experience for Manchester United. I just think that's such a big risk. And I'll tell you this, right? If Erik ten Hag does decide to do that and Altay Bayindir does well, he should start every single game, because to come to the Premier League is difficult, especially as a goalkeeper. And I mean, if you look at the next kind of 10 games that we've got, right? Newcastle, Chelsea, Bournemouth, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, West Ham, Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest. There isn't an easy game. There isn't. I know no game in the Premier League is easy, but it's not like we've got, at home against bottom of the table and maybe you start him then. There is no easy game. I don't know when the FA Cup starts. When is the FA Cup? Is it in January? Is it third round? Let me just have a quick look. When is FA Cup third round? Let's have a quick look, because you would expect him to get some minutes in the FA Cup, surely. Otherwise, when is he going to play? But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think Altay Bayindir should start ahead of Onana? Let me know what you guys have to say. Fred says there's nothing wrong with a bit of competition. Romano says that David De Gea would have saved both of those free kicks last night's game. I agree with you, mate, 100%. Trevor says if Onana plays in the Liverpool game, it will be 9-0. And you know what the issue now is, right? These other teams are going to know that Onana is weak on free kicks, because those 2 goals that were conceded, or 3, the 2 free kicks, that wasn't normal. And for that to happen twice in one game, if I'm any other team in the Premier League, I'm going to look at that and just start trying to get free kicks and trying to shoot, because you probably are going to, you are going to have some luck. So first proper round is... Okay, so I think the FA Cup starts in January. It's the first weekend in January. So, yeah, we've got a little bit of a way to go yet. What else have we got? Al says Erik ten Hag got rid of Kovar because Erik ten Hag has zero talent identification, wasted 50 million on the error-prone Onana. Yeah, I mean, the Onana signing isn't looking particularly great at the moment, is it? You got rid of the goalkeeper who had the most clean sheets in the Premier League, has been, I think he won the player of the season for us maybe 2 or 3 years in the last 5. Everybody loved him at Manchester United. And then you sign somebody for 50 million euros who has made more mistakes, I think, than David De Gea did all of last season. Irvin says, Kieran, our second choice goalkeeper, what style of football he plays, like Onana or like De Gea? I'll be honest with you, mate. I haven't watched that much of Altay Bayindir. From what I have heard and from what I've seen on clips and stuff, he is supposed to be like a ball-playing goalkeeper. But he was also good at shot stopping as well. He was very, very good for Fenerbahce. Yeah, he had a really good season last year. Obviously, as I said, he is in the Turkish national team as the starting goalkeeper. He was highly regarded when he came to Manchester United. Only 25 years of age, so he's got plenty of time left, to potentially become the new Manchester United goalkeeper. And interestingly enough, now, I don't really like this type of thing usually, but whilst we're on the topic of goalkeepers, Altay Bayindir's agent has also been speaking about the situation. And Altay Bayindir's agent has said this. He says, Bayindir wants to take over as Manchester United's number 1 goalkeeper before Onana goes to the Africa Cup of Nations. That is his goal. Man United fans are actually oppressive on the issue. I hope Altay will be able to move into goal in the near future. I don't really agree with agents getting involved with stuff like this, to be honest. I think it's a little bit of a step too far, because if he comes in and he doesn't do well, you're going to be like, he's not very good. His agent was piping up, and it just creates a bit more of a conversation in the wrong reasons. So I don't really like it when agents, come out in the press saying Bayindir should be the goalkeeper. He wants to take over as the goalkeeper and all of this. I don't know. I think you should just maybe keep your mouth shut, But that's just my opinion. Maybe some of you guys like that. Maybe some of you guys like the drama. But for me personally, I'm not really into all of that stuff. But let's move on to the next story, though. Let's talk about this new striker, because this guy is somebody I really, really want to see at Manchester United. And the player's name is... I can't say his second name, but his name is Sehu Gurasi. He plays his football for Stuttgart in the Bundesliga. Now, I'm telling you, this guy would be perfect for Manchester United. We obviously need somebody who's available for a reasonable amount of money. We're talking 10 to 15 million pounds. That's kind of our budget for the January window for a striker. No more than that. This guy has outscored Harry Kane in the Bundesliga this season. He's got 15 goals and 1 assist in 10 matches. And he's also scored 1 goal in 1 game in the German Cup. 16 goals and 2 assists in 11 matches in all competitions. He's available in January for £15 million. He has a release clause, 27 years of age. He's in his prime right now. I think he would be the perfect signing. Very, very good player. Anybody who's unaware of him, go and check out some clips, go and watch some, highlights and stuff. If you have time, go and watch some Stuttgart games. Maybe you don't have time to do that. So I can tell you a little bit about what he's like as a player, just for those of you who don't simply have the time to go and do it. Now, he's 6'2", very strong. He's not the quickest, I'll be honest, but he is good with both feet. He works very, very hard. I think he would be perfect. I do. I'll be honest, he's not world class, but I think he's a good striker. I think he'd be the perfect person to come in and help with Rasmus Højlund. I think he'd be able to suit the physicality of the Premier League. He's strong, he's tall. I think he'd be perfect. I really, really do. But it looks like Manchester United are going to make a move for him. Obviously, we will keep you updated on this one as the story develops. At the moment, it's all just murmurs, but there's 2 or 3 different people reporting this story this afternoon. You've got another journalist saying Manchester United are one of the clubs who have come forward and asked for information on Stuttgart striker Serhou Guirassy. He has a release clause of £15 million, which becomes active in the January transfer window. Then you've got someone else saying, I understand that Manchester United have shown an interest in signing Stuttgart's Guirassy in January. The forward has scored 15 times in 10 games this season and has a £15 million release clause. Another person saying that also AC Milan, Newcastle and Roma are also interested. So there's going to be competition for this player. Somebody else says Guirassy is on the list of Manchester United for the winter. Manchester United have already inquired about him and the release clause is only £15 million and is active in January. So this guy is available for us. I think he'd be very, very good. Irvin says that striker is like Jadon Sancho. Mate, he's nothing like Jadon Sancho. He's 6'2". He's strong. He's physical. Jadon Sancho isn't strong or physical. Jadon Sancho pulls out of tackles. Then they're not similar in the slightest. Jadon Sancho is like more... I don't know. I always, whenever I look at him, I think he looks quite skinny, to be honest. He's not very well built, is he? And he's not 6'2". Jadon's like 5'10". So they're not comparable in the slightest. Jadon's a skillful player. This guy is more of like a bit of a beast, but he's very, very good with his feet. Obviously not the quickest though. Jadon's not physical. Let's be clear here. He's not, is he? Somebody else is talking about this story about Sergeant Ratcliffe as well. I wanted to bring this in, but I wanted to talk about the striker first. So before we move on to that, let me know in the comment section, guys, who do you think we should sign in the January transfer window as the striker? Do you want this Guirassy guy? Maybe you want Taremi. Maybe you want Marcus Leonardo from Santos. Maybe you want Santiago Jimenez. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Who do you want to sign in January? Now, just please be sensible with your suggestions, though. It's either going to be a loan or maybe a 10 to 15 million pound signing. We're not going to go and get a Victor Osimhen or someone of that level, unfortunately. It's 10 to 15 million pounds or loan. So let me know in the comment section, guys, who you want to see in the January window. Right, let's move over to this story that came out earlier on today about Sir Jim Ratcliffe, whatever you want to call him. I'm not sure about this, I'll say from the beginning. So the headline is this afternoon that apparently Jim Ratcliffe wants to bring in as many homegrown or British players as possible. It says Jim Ratcliffe is set to instruct a new recruitment team at Manchester United to put a focus on homegrown talent. Okay. He says he's eager to see a more domestic presence in the core of the squad. So when he says domestic, that means players from the UK, players that, are from the Premier League. I just don't think that's very intelligent recruitment. I think it's a bit lazy, to be honest. I think it's one that's going to cost lots of money. It then goes on to say that Manchester United are currently among the clubs closely monitoring Ivan Toney ahead of the next 2 windows. A move to Arsenal is said to appeal to him, but they have multiple strikers on their list as of now. I mean, Jim Ratcliffe coming in and getting Ivan Toney for 80 million, I just don't think that makes much sense, and it doesn't really inspire me. I like Ivan Toney. I think he'd be great at Manchester United, but I was hoping that Jim Ratcliffe, Paul Mitchell, Jean-Claude Blanc would start bringing in, the next Alvarez, the next Martinelli, these types of players who were bought for really small amounts of money, bring them in and turn them into these superstars. That's what I was hoping that was going to happen. Not just we're going to bring in Sean and Matty Longstaff, Ivan Toney, all of these kind of British people for probably stupid amounts of money. I just don't really like that philosophy, to be honest. Now, I'm not saying I don't want any players like that. That's fine. Ivan Toney, great. I would be into that. But I was kind of hoping that we would be recruiting from further afield, looking in the Argentinian league and the Brazilian league. maybe in the Uruguayan league, that kind of thing, because I think that just excites me a little bit more. Having a player that's a bit of a project, somebody that you develop, somebody that Erik ten Hag can mould into the next best thing. Like that's what I was hoping for. Yeah. Fred says, does this mean Greenwood will return? I mean, homegrown talent, British, Greenwood fits into that category, doesn't it? So, yeah. Yeah, so let's see what else. Irvin says Rashford will not be going if Ratcliffe wants English players. Mate, Rashford's not going anywhere. He is not going anywhere. Definitely not. Yeah. Al says Santiago Jimenez scored 15 league goals plus 2 Champions League goals and is only 22. We should have signed him instead of Højlund. I mean, obviously you're entitled to your opinion, mate. I'll be honest. I haven't watched that much of Santiago Jimenez, but from what I have seen and from his stats, he looks unbelievable. So maybe you have a point there. Yeah, maybe you have a point there. Al says Tom Heaton is probably more solid than Onana. I'm not going to lie to you, mate. I can't really disagree with that statement. I can't. I genuinely cannot. I honestly don't think Tom Heaton would have made as many mistakes as Onana. Yes, Tom Heaton's not good at passing and playing out from the back, but neither's the rest of our team. What's the point in having a ball-playing goalkeeper if your 2 centre-backs can't play in that style of football? It's like, great, we have this elite ball-playing goalkeeper, but even then, like, when he kicks it long, half the time he kicks the ball out of play. So I'm still not fully convinced that we've got this, player who's unbelievable with his feet in goal. Like, I haven't seen it yet. I would give Tom Heaton a try. Why not? Tom Heaton is everyone, people will say, oh, he's too old and all the rest of it. Like, Tom Heaton, I don't think he would have made as many mistakes as Onana, I'll say that. Whether he's a better goalkeeper or not, I don't know. Like, that's just a matter of opinion. I'm sure he's better in some ways than Onana, but yeah. Let's see what else we got. Arsenal for Life says, do you want Ramsdale? No, definitely not, mate. You're welcome to him. Gordon says, music to my ears that Onana will be replaced by Altay. Yeah, mate, I think it was coming, to be honest with you. Obviously, we all know that as soon as the Africa Cup of Nations happens, Altay Bayindir will be the goalkeeper. So they have to start bringing Altay Bayindir in now, because I just think it's going to be difficult to immediately make an impact as a goalkeeper in the Premier League. And if he does it, then he has to continue playing, because it's always difficult. Stefan says, you think Varan will leave in January? I think he will, mate. Yeah, I think Varan will go. The story that came out this morning from The Athletic was that Manchester United will listen to offers for Varan in January. He didn't start in our most important game of the season last night. He doesn't start in any of our games, really. I mean, when was the last time Varan played? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I mean, I think he'll go, yeah. But let me know in the comment section, guys. What do you think will happen with Rafael Varane? Can we see how many games he's played this season? He's played 655 minutes. So the last time, wow. I mean, let's look back through this really, really quickly, right? So Everton, he didn't play a single minute. Luton Town, he played 11 minutes. Fulham, he played 1 minute. Man City, 0 minutes. Sheffield United, 6 minutes. Brentford, he wasn't even in the team. So the last time he actually started a game, right, was against Crystal Palace. This is in the Premier League. The last time Varane started a game in the Premier League was on the 30th of September, 2 months ago. And that was where we lost 1-0 at home to Crystal Palace. I mean, just let that sink in for a minute. We've played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've played 6 Premier League games since then, and he hasn't started a single one of them. And he's like, that's mad, isn't it? If I'm him, I'm going. And I think that we should get that done, because he's £340,000 a week, ridiculous wages. You could get 20, 30 million for him. If he's not going to play, go and replace him with somebody else. It's a complete waste of time otherwise. Tom says the Stuttgart striker has done nothing before this season. I mean, that's a fair point. That is a very, very fair point, Is he just having a stroke of luck? The thing you have to remember, though, Tom, is, right, he only joined Stuttgart at the beginning of this season. So to say he's done nothing before, he's done nothing in the Bundesliga, but he wasn't in the Bundesliga. The season before that, he was in the... last season he joined. Last season, he got 11 goals in 22 games in the Bundesliga. I mean, is that bad? A goal every other game? When you think that Højlund's played, I think, 10, 11 games and doesn't have a single goal yet. Like, a goal every other game for a mid-table team in the Bundesliga. I think that's pretty solid, to be honest. Obviously, it's maybe not the level that we want. Yeah, and then to be fair, the season before that in the French league, he only got 9 goals in 37 matches. So he seems to have only really come into form in the last little bit. Let's see what else people are saying. Let's see. Fred says, I think Onana's physique is his problem. Do you mean that he's like, I don't know. I'm not sure about that, mate. Maybe. Let's have a look what else we got in the chat this evening. Everyone smash a like on the video, by the way, and subscribe if you haven't already. Trevor says, if I was Ten Hag, I would have brought Pickford. I mean, I don't think Pickford's a particularly good goalkeeper, but I think he would have done a better job than Onana. I'll say that. He's not on the level of Edison or Alisson or any of those people. But yeah, that's everything we've got planned for this evening's show, guys. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined me. I will, of course, be back tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. UK time. So do make sure you subscribe. Do make sure you hit the notification bell. If anything breaks between now and tomorrow morning, I will go live as always if we get any takeover news or anything like that. It's all gone very, very quiet, which is hardly surprising, is it? You know, it was, 2 months ago that Sheikh Jassim pulled out and there's still no clarity. It's going to drag into next year, so I'm kind of glad we're not talking about that anyway. But if anything does happen, I will go live for you, so make sure you hit the notification bell. Have a lovely evening, everybody. Please do me a big favour and smash a like on the video before you go. It helps to bring more people in. And I'll speak to you all at 8:30 tomorrow morning.